Morning folks, time to give the fish a couple of pellets. So I thought I'd bring you along for a little bit of a look. There we are, all ready for their breakfast. This water was actually very murky yesterday. Someone sort of overdosed it with a bit too much seaweed. So yeah, the water down here in the sump, you couldn't even see the pump. It doesn't really take long for it to clear up though. The small particles get trapped in the media beds and whatnot. But we're not looking at the fish as such today. I thought I'd just bring you along and show you a couple of clips I shot through the week. First one is starting off down the back, and the second one has to do with the aquaponics. How's it going, supporters? A little bit of a wet one here today, so I won't be doing much work out the back here. I've got some plans for setting up a new tray for these bits and pieces, but I'll wait till this afternoon. But I came down before to do the mango run, basically picking up all the mangoes the bats have dropped. And I discovered a few things, like we have little crops of these mushrooms popping up everywhere through the mulch from next door's butterfly leaf tree. So they're not really on any of the other timber that I could see. There's a couple just down here, but none over on Stephen's, I think it's a fig tree timber. None over there at all, so I thought that was pretty interesting. And quite healthy little colonies as well, so I'm not 100% sure on what type they are. I remember someone telling me they're an ink cap, so I'll have to look into that. Definitely not edible from my understanding, but really good at breaking down the cellulose and the fibres in the wood into plant available nutrients. A couple of borage just popping up everywhere. Actually have a fair decent amount of borage popping up in this bed and going to flower already, and we're just being caned by grasshoppers at the moment, and also these fellas, the Heliophis caterpillars. So I might hold on to him and feed him to the fish. Oh look, there's another one. So this is one of the reasons I'm having issues filming the clip about caterpillar control and aquaponics, because if I spray it's just going to wash off. I actually thought what I might do with the chili up there, just digressing a little bit, I might spray underneath the leaves and see if that works out for us. Bit of a look at the carrot flowers down here. They're flowering everywhere and really need to hook into this second lot of carrots. Yeah, mangoes. What I'm doing with these guys is basically just picking them up, popping them in that bucket over there. The reason being is they're more than likely going to have fruit fly larvae in them. So I think I explained this to the folks on the hangout the other day. We pop them in a bucket, and then from there they'll go into a larger drum. Just let them rot down. Black soldier fly will find them and break them down even faster, and that way we break the cycle of at least the Queensland fruit fly. The other job I had to do is tidy up all the little bits of timber, branches that were too big for the mulcher. I'm going to rack them up, dry them out, so we can pop them in the little fire pit later on when we get winter, if we get winter. And the other thing I wanted to show you was this turmeric is just going burko with the flowers. This is the not the orange one, which is the longer. This is the one we were told is the Madras. So there's even more flowers there, and even more flowers down in there. So this barrel here has pretty much all just been neglected. I haven't fed it up with compost, and to tell you the truth, I don't water it that often either. Nowhere near as much as the longer in this wicking bed. I just noticed I got some rainbow lorikeets above me chomping down on mangoes. So yeah, they're just sitting on top of the netting every now and then, just finishing off the mangoes that fall there. So I've just been leaving them there because it's nice to watch those guys have a bit of a nibble out the window. I'm starting to get rather wet. I will leave it there. I do hope you folks are all well and happy, and I will catch you later. The fish have already been fed. But we'll see if they're still hungry. Yes, they're still hungry. How's it going, supporters? Just a little bit of a quick update on the aquaponics. As you can see, we have some very eager fish down there. Now, one of these guys last night went for a bit of a walk. I was looking for some stuff upstairs, and we have gaps between the floorboards, and a torch shone down here across the top of the water. And one of them decided to go for a bit of a jump, so we came down here and grabbed him and popped him back in. And I can't see anything on the base, but what I thought I'd do is I'd just throw a bit of food in for these guys now. They probably won't take it because I've been over the top of the tank. give them a bit of a feed, and yeah, then pop the camera in and see how they're going. I thought I'd do a quick little update, just mentioning that, in case there's a dead fish clip to come. You folks will know why. And give you a bit of a look at a few things around the place. The lettuce, we started to pick out one or two little bits here and there. I think I got all of those army caterpillars off them. The grasshoppers, though, were still hitting them, but not the caterpillars as such as I can see. I do still need to spray for the dipole. I gave it one bash and then it got washed off with rain the other day, so I'm going to give them another hit this afternoon. And for Randall, give you a bit of a look at our lettuce, mate. I found an ice cream container with some under the house while I was doing a bit of tidying up, so I put most of them in the bag. I thought I'd do a bit of a germination test, so what do you reckon? You reckon they turned out okay? These guys here are the little green ruffled variety we've been using a fair bit. So yeah, hopefully we'll get a load of these guys, enough to spread around the beds, as well as give some to mum and dad. These guys here, yeah, I really do need to thin them out. Some will be going to mum and dad, and the rest will be eating. And I might try and move some out over there. I did notice that the cos is a little bit hardier in direct sun than these other ruffled ones. How are you folks going? Oh, you're getting there. I've found that these ruffled loose leaf varieties do tend to wilt a bit more when they get hit by the sun, and these beds do cop it in the morning. Whereas those guys over there, even though they cop a little bit of the sun, they don't seem to fare as bad. A bit of a roundup on the system. The Kangkong is just being smashed by different bugs and grubs at the moment, and I do think we are still having a few potassium issues. So what I've done is I've swapped back to calcium this week, and then I'll go back to potassium next week, just so that we've still got some coming into the system. And these carrots are starting to form little seeds in their heads, which is pretty cool. And we've got the first lot of flowers from the volunteer. I was going to call it a moringa. You know what I mean, marigold, French marigold. So there's one doing rather well there. A little stunted one over the back here. Oh, these greens, we're going to have to start chopping the actual stems back on these guys because they're dividing. We have just been taking the green leaves because they're very pungent, oniony flavour. But I think we are going to have to start harvesting some of the actual stems. As you can see, this is what happens. They just tend to divide, turn into a bit of a clump. What else? Oh, yes, the mites. Oh, just to show you, I've also been doing a bit of cleaning out. I think I've mentioned it the other day. I'm still going there. I'm trying to get as much stuff from under the house out the front. I've actually got a massive fish tank full of clay at the moment, and that'll be going along with all those other beds that we've got. And I'm tossing up with the idea about actually doing a sand system, an IAVS. Well, I don't want to call it that because it'll be different, but yeah, that will be going down at the back. And excuse the washing, that area over there, some more drums and bits and pieces to clean out, but that'll be going over there once we sort that all out. But yeah, I am losing the battle with the mites. They've hit this tomato now as well, and even though I've washed this little perennial spinach down a couple of times, I just can't knock them on the head. So when I do the pest clip, I'll be mentioning the woes we're having with the mites, and they'll come out. The Chinese red shallots, though, they're doing well. They're starting to divide nicely. This one over here is in the process of dividing. There's a little bulb forming there, and it looks like a 2 in there. And one of the weeds we've been getting is the Kadagi tree. We've been getting loads of the Kadagi tree seedlings. I left this one in for a clip. They're just a North Queensland species that is turned up down here in the southeast, and it's a real pain in the butt actually. Well, the other thing that I did the other day was I just snapped off a little bit of the hoe and knock just to root it in the system. Looks like it's taken off okay. The leaves on the broccoli there are looking a bit tatty, same as the ones over the side there. That's because we took all the nice looking ones off, and we also added in some of the eggplant from the eggplant there, some chives and carrots growing down the back, and made up a little bit of a Chinese style pork noodly dish. So that was pretty sweet. We're not harvesting loads out of the garden, as you folks know, at the moment. just bits and pieces here and there, so it was nice to have a meal that was pretty much well made, except for the pork and noodles from bits and pieces from the property. Yeah, but I suppose that's pretty much all I wanted to show you today. I've been answering a load of comments and questions. As you folks have probably seen, I've answered one or two of your comments over the last couple of days, so catching up on that. And also working on the fish clip, looking at the AusyFish fish hatchery. A load of noise, but I think I've managed to... Oh, my little friends followed me down here. There's a load of noise in the clip.
Rotifer is one of the first things that they eat, and it's really windy now.
But yeah, I'm fairly sure I can make it listenable without blowing out people's eardrums, so that's what I'll be doing this afternoon after I water some beds down the back. But yeah, there you go. Just a little bit of a general up. Oh, and I'll show you this as well. The black mamba spinach is setting little flowers. I remember seeing flowers like that before somewhere in my past, but I don't quite know where. But anyway, we might get a couple of seeds from that. And yeah, this Chinese cabbage is definitely a goner. The caterpillars, grasshoppers ate the flower head. The Mark has told me he's going to sow some more seeds. So thank you very much, mate. Hope you're enjoying your trip away. I'll pot a little bit of a vision of these, the tank in and the fish at the end here. So happily, I found no fish on the bottom of the tank. So little mate who went for a bit of a stroll on the concrete last night looks to have bounced back okay. But I will be keeping an eye on them. I'll pop the camera down there again tomorrow. And yeah, the good news is I can also see no blemishes that were on the fish the other week. So it looks like now that they're back to a normal feeding regime, they're not bullying each other about. So I hope you enjoyed that little bit of an update on the aquaponics and a bit of a stroll through the patch. I'm just down here under the new hoop house and give you a bit of a look at what I got up to over the last couple of days. Just moving a couple of plants around. I'm actually bringing the, I don't know if I can get it in frame. No, you can't see it. The veggie pod just over there. There we go, just over there I've taken the lemongrass out of it and it will be moved down here. And I'm thinking about making up some new compost bins. And thanks to Diego, there'll be a link down in the description, probably pop up here. I'm thinking about resurrecting the old compost bins we used to have, pretty much well where I'm standing right here when we first started out. Just a quick rotational way to make up some compost, so you've always got some to add to the beds. And I'm also thinking about doing up another tree mulch bin as well. So yeah, that hopefully will happen this week and I'll bring you along. I need to source some good quality horse poo. So anyone in southeast Queensland who knows where I can find some, I would really appreciate a heads up because my deal is passed on, I think. So there we go, folks. Thank you very much for coming along and checking out the clips. Really do appreciate it when you give it a thumbs up and leave a comments down below. And thanks to all those folks who are also responding to the polls. I'm not doing it to try and gain supporters or anything like that. I just think it's fun asking questions and seeing what people come up with as answers, and also gives me ideas for clips along the way too. Special thanks to those supporters out there. Really do appreciate the support, folks. And yeah, I'm going to go upstairs because Mum and Dad are dropping around after church. Hope you're all well and happy, and I'll catch you later.